also Amy Baggio, who is also with the New Life Foundation. I want to welcome you to the Insight.
Thank you. Good morning.
We've got a brand new year, 1983. Now, during 1982, we've had people from New Life Foundation at different times during the year, and they always used to mention that Vernon Howard says this, Vernon Howard says that, and now we've got Vernon Howard here.
The real thing.
Okay, and maybe, being a new year, the name of your organization, New Life Foundation, maybe might be of interest to some people. You know, we always like to start fresh with the new year,
right?
And that's what some of your teachings are all about, to try to think in a different way. Don't be subject to your old thoughts.
Correct. That's what we called it New Life Foundation to begin with, because we wanted to emphasize the fact that all the teachings that we have, all the books and booklets and cassette tapes that we put out, they all revolve around the one fact that any man or woman who really wants to get rid of his old life of being sad and being defeated, or feeling that he's under pressure all the time, he can have a new life in which he can be in this very same world, this terrible world at times, this warring world, and yet not be a part of the strife of it. And there's techniques, there's methods which we teach 4 times a week in Motor City, by which anyone can find a new way to see himself, therefore a new way to see life and not be trapped by life.
Okay, now when you say being trapped by life, could you give some examples?
Yes, the average human being walks around, I'm afraid, and I'm sure we've all seen it. They walk around in a daze, confused, and afraid they're going to get hurt by the next letter in the mail, or someone's going to phone them and demand something. So they're always under tension, unable to handle never mind the major crises of life, but even the will you do a favor for me? And they really don't want to do the favor, but they're afraid to say no. So they're trapped by their own inconsistency inside. And what we try to do is show people that you don't have to be a slave to other people, to their demands on you, and you don't have to be a slave of your own wrong thoughts.
Now, the description you gave almost sounds like somebody that's under depression.
Well, look around at faces, JC, and what do you see but depression and even a lot of hostility? But most of all, you see people who are scared. And one way or another, because they look very confident and they're laughing and they're happy and they have their favorite TV program. But you say the one wrong word to them, they're hiding something, and they jump. Now, we say you don't have to jump in life anymore.
Okay, and Amy, you've been involved with New Life Foundation for some time.
Yes.
About how long?
6 years.
6 years. And how did this all start for you?
I'm the person you were talking about a little earlier. You said you sound like everybody was depressed. I was depressed all the time, but we all have this mask we put on when we go out in public, when we go to the grocery store. We have our little mask in place, and as soon as we go home, the mask falls off, and there you are, the real you. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I was tired of this dual life of being happy in public and really with a straight, depressed face at home. And everybody's like that. And I'll tell you, it's great to catch people in an off-guard moment, because you catch them when they're off guard and the mask is down and you see that real person. And then if you say good morning to them or something, all of a sudden there's the bright, shiny face again. We put that mask on and off all day long, and I got tired of it.
So how did you first come about going to one of these Vernon Howard lectures?
My brother was searching for something, because he knew there was something more to life than dealing cards and all that. And he found out that Vernon Howard was teaching classes in Boulder City. So my brother came to my house one day and said, "Come on, sis, we're going out to hear Vernon Howard." And so we went, and we're still going. Vernon Howard is the only man I've ever met in my life who really knows the answers to life. He just reveals the whole thing to you. It's really, the classes at New Life Foundation are wonderful.
And from what I understand now, you can't just go like 6 months or 2 weeks and learn it all.
Well, we've been building up the problem, JC, for all these years. It's obvious we're not going to get rid of it in a 6-week course. And we emphasize that to people, that here we've been conditioned by society. All this junk has been poured on us ever since we were little children. And it's very self-deceitful for anyone to think they can come to any place and just by saying a few magic words toss off the pain. We have to go very deep inside yourself, and in connection with that, one of the first things we tell people when they come there, please, sir or madam, we are not trying to hurt you. Because they think, you tell people, look, you're negative, you're hiding your hatred, you're hiding your anger, and they think you're attacking. We're not. We all have to go through it. I do, Amy does, we all have to go through it. So if we can get over to them, sir, we're here to help, not hurt, that's a big hurdle over already.
What is the average stay with New Life Foundation that people have when they start coming to your lectures?
What kind of what did you say?
What is the average stay that people, how long of a period of time does the average person?
Well, a lot of people don't stay much more than one class. It's a little too much for them, and we're very honest about that. This is not for everyone. This class is for people who are very, very tired of kidding themselves. Just as Amy pointed out a minute ago, class for people who have begun to see that they've been leading a double life. They say one thing, they say they're happy, or they say they're religious or whatever, but they have nightmares, and they have headaches, and they're nervous over what someone says to them, or they feel rejected. So we say you either want to get out of the trap or you don't. And a lot of people come for 1 or 2 meetings and go away. However, anyone who comes there, JC, and sees a little bit of light, once he sees just a little bit, they'll ask us, why don't we have meetings every night instead of 4 times a week? They're that eager.
So it sounds like a person must have to open themselves up a little bit and be able to understand everything.
That's true, and not be afraid to see what you're really like. And here's a very good help on that. And we emphasize this too. All the negative things you see inside of yourself, maybe a person has some hypocrisy in him, or he has a lot of violence that he conceals. We tell people that you have to see it first, but it's not your real permanent nature. It's something that a sick society has imposed on you, and you've taken it as being you. It really isn't you. When we can toss out what we've acquired, the conditioning, then that very awareness of it will dissolve it, and then you're your natural free self, and you're happy because you have nothing anything to be unhappy about.
I want to remind everybody that you're listening to Insight on 1340 KRAM, PRAM Las Vegas. And on this segment of our Insight program on the second day of January 1983, we're speaking with Vernon Howard and Amy Bargill of the New Life Foundation, which is based in Boulder City, and which I understand you put out quite a few publications worldwide.
Yes, we have about 30 books that we actively distribute throughout the world, and cassette tapes, most of them very low cost. We don't have expensive books at all. We try to keep them $1, $2 booklets. You have the latest one there. What we try to do in the booklets, as we do in the classes, is kind of hit people a little bit hard so that they don't go to sleep. Try to wake them up by saying that there is something else besides your sleep life, and if they want it, they come back.
Now, have you ever been accused of make money?
That's the first thing. What do you do with all the money? The simple fact is we are a nonprofit organization, and no one at New Life gets a salary, including Vernon Howard. Nobody gets a salary at all. Now, the next question they usually ask, well, I'll answer and get out of the way. What do you do with the money that comes in? Very simple. We run a lot of advertising. We have a lot of heavy printing costs, and we have our natural headquarters, have our expenses. So nobody is getting rich in New Life, except indirectly. They're getting rich.
Well, Vernon, you yourself now, if you don't take a salary, how do you
make a living?
Make a living, right?
Yeah, that is usually the third question, JC, and I don't mind though. I have royalties from books published, from Eastern Published from many years in the past. I have small but adequate income from regular books. Mystic Path to Cosmic Power, which has been a bestseller for many years. So my income comes from past books, not from books I write. I won't get a penny off of that book, for example. So I'm fine financially.
Now, when you started out, what about some of the history in you when you got into this New Life Foundation? How did this begin?
Yeah, I started off as a young man wanting to be a writer. and I wrote a lot of various kinds of books and magazine articles. Then I got thinking, this is what we've been talking about this morning, isn't there something more lasting, more satisfying than becoming a great writer, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to see my name on that bestseller list. And I kept thinking, now, suppose I do get my name on the bestseller list, I'm still scared, or I'm still worried about things. So there has to be a value that is higher than getting rich and famous. And I wanted to find it. I wasn't satisfied with my life at all, any more than Amy was. I wanted to see if there was something else. No one ever told me about the things that we talk about at New Life. My parents weren't interested in anything but, day-to-day living, and my friends were all interested in getting rich and famous. So I began a long, long search, and I must have gone to hundreds of different churches and various kinds of psychic groups. And I finally found out, JC, that finally you have to stop right where you are and say, I'm not going to go out and ask that man, because he may be lying to me, and he will, if he's lost himself, which most of them are. I have to stop and face Vernon and find out that there's something I have to change inside myself. Among them being wanting to become the greatest writer, or people to respect me, or all the people wanting my autograph. And it's very difficult to give that up, because it's very vanity and pride is so strong, and
ego.
Ego. That's good. It'll fight you every step. And and it'll trick you every step. But finally you get onto it. You get to see, put it bluntly, you get to see what an idiot you've been all your life. And that shatters the ego just a little bit, but enough for it to put you on the right path. And now it's a matter of working daily, which we do. I'm working right now, and I'm sure Amy is too, by simply being aware of ourselves. I know that I'm going like that with my hand.
Now, in New Life Foundation, what year was it founded?
That'd be about 10 years ago, officially.
And that was in Boulder City?
Yeah, right in Boulder City, We had a few people who came, and finally people started moving from other states and other places. Amy came from Las Vegas, of course, where she'd lived practically all her life.
And are you originally from Boulder City?
No, I was born in Haverhill, Massachusetts, but went to California as a very young man and lived there up till about 15 years ago. So I've been in Boulder City for 15 years.
Now, Vernon Howard is the man that everybody respects and gets their answers from. Do you still have problems yourself where you have to look at some of these things?
I have no severe problems at all. When a problem tries to get me, I know that it is an imposition trying to get on me. I don't care what it is. Disappointment, something doesn't turn out the way I want. I am not going to get caught in the trap that Vernon Howard was in for a long, long time as a young man. I can catch a problem coming from a long ways off trying to take me over. I refuse it. And now, you know how you refuse it? You suddenly wake up and realize that you mustn't try to handle it with ordinary thought, but you must drop ordinary thought and simply be aware of yourself, just as I'm doing now. I don't have a single problem in the world right now, and I won't have as long as I stay awake.
Okay. Now, you've just come out with a publication called Freedom from a Life of Hell.
Brand new.
You want to explain a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, again, if a person can be real honest, just sit down all alone sometime in a chair and watch your own thoughts, for example, you will see a horrible parade of monsters and evil spirits even, wrong thoughts, tormenting thoughts. That's a good one, tormenting thoughts. That's hell, isn't it? Isn't it hell to always be worried? Isn't it hell to always be wondering whether you're going to lose your man or lose your woman or what? That's hell. We say you don't have to live that way. If a man's going to leave you, he's going to leave you, but you don't have to go in sorrow unless you love pain. And I'll tell you, JC and Amy too, the last thing people will ever give up is their pain. You tell them, what are you hanging on to it for? You don't have to. But it's the only thing they've ever known, and so they're not going to give it up because they're afraid they'll feel empty. And you will, but then it'll be filled with something real.
So your attitude is more towards being phlegmatic? Pardon? Your attitude is more of being phlegmatic. What'll happen happens.
Oh, not philosophical and saying, well, if it happens, because that is simply laziness. We say this: if you change your nature, which can be done through the New Life teachings, your new nature will cause different things to happen. You won't find yourself quarreling like you used to quarrel all the time. You won't find yourself, this is a good one. You won't find yourself fighting with yourself all the time. Because that new nature will cause new events to happen. Well, I mean, if you're peaceful, are you going to go around and pick quarrels with someone? Hardly.
Okay, now, also in your book, Freedom from the Life of Hell, you use the term Vernon Howard's healing books. What do you mean by healing?
Simply, I'm the author of the books, and it is the truth, obviously, that heals, not Vernon Howard. The truth that I speak, which is that I didn't invent, the truth was here long before I was, thousands of years before I was. But what I do in the books, JC, is to state the truth in a different way. Because obviously we're all different. You would write a book a different way. Amy would write it. And my main aim is to put it in as simple, concise, clear language as possible, without not a lot of theology, not a lot of wasted words. But you can see a small book like that, you have to be very economical with words and pack it in. And every one of those 100 guides in that book is just packed. I've been a professional writer for many years, so I know where to cut a word here or a phrase there. So simple to the point and a low price so that everyone can afford to find the way out.
Okay, and it looks like it's very easy to read also.
It is very simple.
Okay. Yeah. And I want to remind everybody that you're listening to Insight here at 1340 KRAM, KRAM Las Vegas. And I'm your host, J.C. Simon. We're speaking with Vernon Howard, who is the founder and director of the New Life Foundation in Boulder City. Now, when you have your sessions, your lectures, I guess that's what you call them, right?
Sure.
In Boulder City, how long do they last?
Each lecture is a half hour in itself, about 30 minutes, and then we have a short break. Then afterward, we have a variety of events which bring the audience into the whole truth movement in one way or another. Sometimes we have people give short speeches or little question and answers.
So if somebody was planning on coming out from like Las Vegas to Boulder City on a Sunday morning, what time do they run?
9 o'clock. 9 a.m. on Sunday and Saturday, and 7 p.m. on Wednesday and Friday.
Okay, take for example a 9 o'clock Saturday morning one. Well, let's take, for example, 9 o'clock this morning. If somebody planned on going out to Boulder City. Now, how long would they have to spend their whole day there? Or?
Oh, no. Just they come at 9, and the lecture's a half hour. Then a break for about 10 minutes. We stretch our legs a little bit. Then for another half hour, maybe 40 minutes. Then they go home, or most of them just stay and help with the mailings or things like that. No. Come go as you like. We do have monthly banquets, though, in which people stay all day because we have a lot of interesting activities. And we have, Amy has a little dancing group, for example, that puts on entertainment and banquet. You're invited out. Second Saturday of every month. Come on, join us.
Okay, and can going to the New Life Foundation lectures be expensive?
Expensive? No, it's strictly on a donation basis. If you don't have the $2 or $3 or whatever, then you can come in free. We have a lot of people who can't afford to pay, so they don't put anything in at all. It's the donation. There's no set charge.
Okay, and
no extras or anything like that.
All right, now, Amy, I want to direct a question toward you. Vernon mentioned that you teach dancing. Has going to the New Life Foundation lectures helped at all in your career or your vocation?
It's helped in the career and also every aspect of my life. But I do operate a dancing studio in Boulder City, and I'll tell you, the teachings at New Life Foundation make me more alert. They make me more aware of my students. I see a student who's struggling with a step. I know how to help her. I know how to approach them. I know how to be decent towards them. I know not to blow up at little children because that's poisoning little children. I know how to behave myself. I know how to be a good teacher and get a good class in an hour and give them what they need in that hour. I don't waste time. I get down to business. New Life has helped me. I'm so practical now with my life.
Were you teaching before you started going to the New Life?
Oh yeah. I've been a ballet and exercise instructor at UNLV for years and years before I ever went to New Life.
And were you into a career of ballet before this?
Sure. But I danced professionally with Nevada Dance Theater and also the San Diego Ballet Company before I came to New Life. But I'll tell you, once I into a new life, I lost that desire to get on the stage and feel the applause and all that.
Something similar to what Vernon wanted with his name and lights as being an author.
Exactly. You know why? I'll tell you why. First things first. I'm putting changing myself first. That's what's most important for me right now. I want to work very hard on myself. I want to change the way I am. I still enjoy going to see the ballets. I still love to go see the ballet at the university and look at the pretty ballerinas on the stage. But you know what? There's a lot of pain in that. There's a lot of pain in getting on that stage and just hoping that you don't fall down or hoping that you pull off your solo perfectly. I would rather sit in the audience and watch it and enjoy it and know I'm sitting there and watching it and enjoying it. It's a different world.
Almost like being an armchair football player, and once you've retired, you can still enjoy watching it, but you'd like to be out there, but you know what you got to go through when you do that.
I'll tell you, Vernon Howard has taught me a very, very deep secret that everybody on earth should know, and this is it. You can't change yourself unless you get sick of yourself. Now, I'm going to say, all my life I was blowing up. I was getting mad for little things, always angry, and you can't get rid of your anger until you get sick of it. And you know what? I'm getting so tired of getting angry. The sicker you get of it, the more tired you are of feeling that burning. That's when it starts to fade and disappear. You can't suppress your anger. The world says, suppress your anger, or other people say other things. You have to see that anger taking over you. You have to feel it. You have to see how it's harming you physically. And finally, the day comes and you said, I'm not going to put up with it anymore. And when it starts to come over you, you just say no. Vernon was talking about that a little earlier. Vernon Howard has taught me how to start saying no to all these negativities, and they're starting to fall away. I'm starting to feel lighter and freer.
Now, if you don't know that they're negative feelings that are coming toward you, are you taught then how to recognize these when they're approaching you?
Oh, look, depression is negative, anger is negative. Anything that makes you vibrate is negative. And you know what else is negative? A false excitement that you would get over getting a new car or getting a raise in your paycheck. Because isn't that false excitement temporary, just the opposite of being angry? It's all the same thing. We're not talking about from flipping from anger to excitement to anything. We're talking about rising above the whole wheel and getting away from it.
It sounds almost like that character on the Kung Fu TV series where he's always at peace of mind. Yes, he's always at peace with everything.
But there is one difference, Jesse. Most human beings pretend that they're at peace. They pretend they're in command of themselves, and inwardly they're living a life of hell, which is the book was all about. And you know very well, if you say one little thing about them that they don't want to hear, they're going to expose themselves. And which is why we say, look, come on. Come to the class, and if you feel insulted at the first meeting, come back and be insulted again. Come back and be insulted at 10 meetings. And everyone, JC, everyone who has come there, some people you couldn't get them out of there. The people who have come there are those who did come back and say, that man told me the truth about myself. I don't want it. I don't like it. I'm going to get out of it. I feel like getting up and walking out, but I'm not going to do it because I know it's the truth. And then after a while, after several meetings, they say, okay, I've seen my problem, which is hypocrisy, weakness. So if they have the problem clear there, they may also have the solution, and they finally see it, which is to not identify with your negative emotions, not see yourself as being permanently trapped by what the world's trapped by.
Okay, what about religion? You're a non-profit organization.
Yes.
Going to your lectures, do you teach any kind of beliefs that would maybe contrast some of the teachings that people are learning in their, houses of worship?
I understand the question, yes. New Life Foundation teaches the true teachings of Christ. They teach the true teachings of any teacher. There's a thread that runs through all religions, a thread. Most of it is nonsense and ritual, but inside of it somewhere is the thread. We teach the pure thread without the ritual, without all the outer hypocrisies and trappings. So, if you want to say, are we religious, that depends on what you interpret as religion. I like the word spiritual just a little bit better, because when you say the word religion, everybody associates with the horrible experiences they had in Sunday school, or some preacher denounced them for some sin or other, whatever it was. So if you use the word spiritual, it does get a little bit away from the teachings of organized religion. The truth is one thing, religion is another. We teach truth.
Okay. So I imagine some people would be a little concerned that they don't want to end up, out in the desert worshiping snakes or...
They are in the desert. They're already in the desert. They don't know it. Anyone with hostility, anyone with hatred is living in that dry, barren desert, and come to New Life Foundation and we'll show you the stream of water that will satisfy forever.
Okay, that sounds very good.
It is good.
I want to remind everybody once again that we're listening to Insight on 1340 KRAM, KRAM Las Vegas, and in case you've turned us in a little bit late this morning, we're speaking with Vernon Howard, who is the founder and director of the New Life Foundation, and also Amy Bargio, who is also with the New Life Foundation. Now, you have a regular job for your livelihood. Do you have to put in a lot of time for New Life Foundation as well?
Well, you can put in as much as you want to. You can put in none, or you can, devote your whole life to it. I do jobs for New Life Foundation voluntarily, and the more you give, the more you receive. That's just how it works. I can't sit back and just, go listen to Mr. Howard talk and just take and take and take. You can't do that. You have to take what you learn and use it in your life and give, so that you can keep, it's like you have to keep turning it over and keep getting more.
Pass it on.
Pass it on, right.
Okay, now, do you have to travel around the country to talk to people?
I do very little traveling, J.C. I've got so much to do in Boulder City at New Life Foundation that I don't do a lot of traveling. We do go sometimes as a group to Los Angeles, and on rare occasions to other places, but we're so busy here with everything, I stay pretty close to home.
Has the idea of putting, a lot of your teachings and beliefs into a computer and trying to develop some kind of perfect formula ever come to mind?
The book there is a computerized version of all the true teachings that have ever been handed down to mankind. I tell you, I know how it sounds, but I tell you, in that book there are 10,000 pure truths condensed that anyone can understand. All they have to do is read the booklet and they'll see. Freedom from a life of hell.
Okay, also in that Freedom from a Life of Hell, you've got something mentioned here about a new energy. Is that from looking into yourself, getting a better look into yourself, you achieve this?
It finally results from that, and what actually happens is that you get rid of wasting your energy. Have you ever noticed, I'm sure we all have over a period of time, how drained you feel after you've been mad for all day? Don't you go home weary that you've been wasting all that energy and being mad, with the car, the man who cut in front of you and all that? We teach that you get all your energy properly channeled to waking up, instead of wasting it and crabbing and whining about life and feeling sorry for yourself. That alone will restore energy, but that's just the beginning. The energy is in a very high place up there, and if a person is really receptive, he gets his egotism that you mentioned, J.C., out of the way. You get your egotism out of the way. That leaves space. That leaves room for this higher energy to come down. And then that higher energy lives your life for you, and it isn't going to waste it in being negative in any way, complaining, and especially it's not going to waste it in being afraid. All the people who come to New Life have found, little by little, by degrees, that they're getting rid of their unconscious fears they didn't even know they had before. They're getting rid of them. They walk with a lighter step a little bit every day.
Now, how does New Life Foundation feel about nutrition?
About what?
Nutrition.
Oh, be nutritious. Why not?
Okay.
As you get mentally healthy, it does affect the body and all that. So if you want to eat health foods, fine. If you don't, no one's going to say anything. We put the spiritual first, and then the other comes afterward.
Okay. Okay, now, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, you will be having a meeting this morning at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock this morning.
And that's in Boulder City?
That's at 700 Wyoming Street in Boulder City, the corner of Wyoming and Utah Streets, 9 a.m. And anyone who wants more detailed information can call 293-4444.
That's an easy number to remember.
Easy number, 293-4444. And that'll give complete information about all the classes.
About how many people attend your class?
We have about 80 to 90, 4 times a week. And on banquet weekends, we have 150. A lot of people come up from Los Angeles. About 80 or 90 people. Men and women, all ages. Yeah, we have young people, older people. We have psychiatrists, psychologists, and carpenters, and everything else.
From all different walks of life.
Right. Sure.
And are there these lectures, do they take place in any other parts of the country besides Nevada here?
When I travel, they do. And once in a while, we'll have speakers who will go out and give talks, like in San Francisco, maybe. But the lectures are mostly spread out through our cassette tapes. We have 100 or more cassette tapes that people can buy and listen at home. And they do buy them all over the world and listen to them. Some people buy 20 at a time.
Mm-hmm. And do you also have like videotapes as well?
We do have videotapes, yes. They're kind of expensive, of course, being a more expensive medium, but people do order them and watch them at home or have a few friends in the house.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, you mentioned 4 times a week your meetings are held?
Yes, we meet on Wednesday night at 7 p.m., Friday night at 7 p.m., Saturday morning at 9 a.m., Sunday morning, 9 a.m., and all are welcome. Come out. No one's going to try to drag you into it, try to get you to join in. There's nothing to join anyway. Come in. People are going to smile at you and shake your hand, say sit down and have a cup of coffee. We're very friendly out there. And you can leave anytime you want to.
Now, I take it then that every meeting is going to be different?
Every meeting is a blast. Every meeting starts off with, come on, wake up. And then we go into the details.
Very casual. You dress casual. Everybody's friendly.
Yeah, no suits and ties.
No, Vernon Howard tells you what's going on, and we have a great time.
It's really a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and also at your meetings, then nobody has to be afraid of being singled out or having
No.
You see, look, we've all gone through this. Everyone, Amy had our first meeting. You were terrified, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Scared to death. That man looks so mean up there, not smiling at you. Everybody, they come up. We know that. We know that, and when every person comes for the first time, we can see it in their eyes. So we deliberately try to put them at ease because we know what they're going through. And if they will stay there, if they will not run away, if they will come back meeting after meeting, they will come in there and say, why was I scared when I came in? There's nothing to be afraid of. To the contrary, there's something to be very encouraged and cheerful about because the truth, the light is in that room. The light of truth is in that room at Boulder City, Nevada, at New Life Foundation.
Now, what type of person most often comes to your lectures? What are they usually suffering from?
People who have been dismayed, disillusioned with organized religion, people who have had a severe crisis, maybe a divorce or alcoholism or financial failure. But you can boil it down to this. People who come there are people who can no longer believe in their old life anymore. They can no longer believe in themselves. They begin to see, look, a woman will come and she said, I was married for 15 years and it looked good, and then my husband left me for a younger woman, and all of a sudden I don't know who I am anymore. Can you tell me? Yes, we can. Or a man comes, he's been in alcohol or drugs or whatever, and he says, look, I've been throwing my life away. I feel lost. Can you help me? The truth can, and we'll give you that truth in the room. It's the lost people who are the best candidates.
So a person can actually tell you their situation and ask you?
Oh, yes, you're free to tell us. Matter of fact, we have what we call spiritual biographies now. People stand up in front and they tell us their story, where they're born in Wisconsin or wherever, and and it's really a horror scene, most of them. You know your early life, JC. I know mine. Amy knows her. that home was a hell at times, wasn't it? Father and mother screaming at each other, and the neighbors throwing coffee cups out the window and all that. We know what it's all about, and we say, if you're tired of that, come and we'll give you the solution.
Okay. Do you ever have teenagers coming into your lectures also? Teenagers?
Oh, yes, we have quite a number of young people there, yeah.
Because, you know, so often teenagers are looking for something, and a lot of times they turn to drugs.
Oh, we'll save them from that. We'll tell them that it's just destructive for you. We'll give you something that is a million, billion times better than the thrills of this world. And we'll also show you how to say no to your sick friends who are trying to drag you down to their level on drugs or crime or whatever. Anyone who comes into that room, they stay there. They're going to see the purity of it, and they'll wonder how they ever could have consented to going out with that gang of thugs, stealing things or causing trouble.
And have you ever been endorsed by any church groups? Have you ever been invited, like, to speak in front of
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, J.C., we have hundreds of churches that buy my books and sell them, you know, in their church bookstore. We have many psychiatrists and psychologists and educators and professional people of all kinds will come to the meetings and endorse us. Oh, yeah.
Okay, and once again, if somebody wants to get in touch with the New Life Foundation...
Yes, call 293-4444. That's in Boulder City, Nevada, at the corner of Utah and Wyoming Streets.
Okay, Vernon Howard, founder and director of the New Life Foundation, and also Amy Baggio, who is with the New Life Foundation. I want to thank you for coming up here on the second day of the new year and speaking to all our listeners for the New Life Foundation. And
a lawyer used to be a luxury only the rich could afford. But today, in our complex society...